You're listening to episode 100
It's 100.
of... Wait, what was it?
I said it's 100.
I didn't realize.
Of
Fresh
Floppies.
A show wherein Noel and I and Jeremy, hi Jeremy,
Hey.
discuss the books that come out this week with no spoilers.
I thought we were still in the cold open. That was the intro?
Yep.
What's up to all the psychics and folk out there in the Geek Nation? My name is Nola. You're
I hope
listening
you
to...
enjoyed the cold open.
You're listening to episode 100 of Fresh Floppies for 100 weeks, not continuously.
Yeah.
We have been reviewing brand new comics that come out this week without spoilers. Joining me, your host-ish other person, Noel, today is JD.
Your other
Hostish.
hostish
With
the mostish.
Hostish.
Oh, and Jeremy. I'm just here.
Hi
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Hey.
And we both looked at you, and that was like, hey, what's
No,
up?
yeah. I'm
Hey,
just here to interject
how
the
you
occasional
doing?
opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not really a host.
As long as you make it as occasional as humanly possible.
Yeah. I stand on the other side of the room for most of this.
Yeah. I'm the corner friend. What is the... Yeah, as I sit in the corner and just like, hey. Oh,
So are you saying he's in the cuck chair?
I'm gonna no. I wasn't. I was actually gonna make a very, very timely reference, a very timely pop culture reference. Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon.
Oh,
I don't know if
yeah.
everybody knows them. Just a yes man, like
Oh, yeah.
Ed McMahon on the couch, like yes sir, absolutely.
Well, also there's
you
the
don't
guy-
say.
Slightly more recent would be the David Letterman and bald guy.
Well, that was his band leader.
Still a yes man.
Is a yes man, sure, but
Yeah.
like I feel like there's a different category for band leaders that are
Yeah.
yes men, or just like your job on the couch is only a yes man.
And Conan with the other guy, Andy Richter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's pretty good. But then they ended up incorporating Andy into the whole show, whereas Ed McMahon just was only ever
Yes.
on the couch. He never evolved.
And then he left eventually to give people checks on their porches.
Oh, didn't he also give people checks for singing?
Oh, I don't
Star Search.
Oh, did he?
Star Search. You guys remember that?
No.
Nope, nobody does.
No, I
Nobody.
don't.
Anyway, we're going to talk about
Hey,
comics
comic
today.
books.
Yeah. The first book we're going to talk about today is a very important,
Very special.
very special, very important educational
fake.
comic
Mm-hmm.
called The New History of the DC Universe, written by Mark Waid with art by Todd Knock and Jerry Ordway.
Colorist Matt Herms and John Caliz.
So a couple years ago, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago,
You can say that. I'll allow it.
because no one will check me.
No.
Nobody listens. It's fine.
It's true.
Mark Waid and Javier Rodriguez did a comic called The History of the Marvel Universe. It was the coolest thing in the world. But it was also just a textbook.
Yeah.
It was a textbook with an appendices of literally the beat-for-beat history of the creation of the Marvel Universe in continuity.
Now, there were bookends, right? There was like Franklin Richards with Galactus.
Which this has. But...
Oh, it's Barry Allen typing into a computer.
Yeah. And that,
I was like, does it?
And so that book, it was the end of the universe, and Galactus and Franklin Richards are hanging out, and they're going to watch the universe die into the next one. And to like ease his mind, Franklin asks Galactus to tell him the story of the birth of the previous universe that he was a part of. And we just get it.
Yeah.
Those first 2 issues or so were a little dense, a little boring, but the art was beautiful, but it was a little dense and boring, and I think most of you guys didn't stick with it.
No, I didn't.
I did. It ended up being like the coolest thing I've ever read, and I make people read it all the time. Nobody reads it, but I make people read it all the time. This is the same thing.
Yeah.
This first issue is very dense, borderline boring,
Yes.
and a lot of things that I have little to no reference to.
It steps a little over the border into boring.
Yeah. It reads like it's like, hey, I'm really, really interested in science. I'm going to read a textbook about it. And it's just dry, even though I love science. That's what this feels like.
Yeah.
It feels useful
For someone.
to one end.
You're right. Yeah.
It feels like when I'm reading comics and I come across a name I don't know, so I Google it, and then I end up down a wiki hole for about 30 minutes.
This is a
feels
wiki
like-
hole.
This book,
Yeah.
this whole book is a wiki hole.
Yeah, which honestly I think is great. You just have to know what you're getting into and be in the right mood for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I also think it's probably a great point of reference where, like, instead of Googling something, I could be like, oh, I remember skimming across that name in this book. If I have any curiosities or questions, I can probably go back to the book and figure out where the hell they came from.
Doesn't this feel so boomer too? Like, you know what the kids love today? Appendices. Reference materials.
Just dry info. Yeah.
Just we're gonna dryly talk about all this stuff that happened in the DC universe, but you know what we're gonna do to like spice it up? Reference points, issues of titles that they've never heard of before.
Here we go. Here's one little panel. In a small laboratory in Colorado, Dr. Mark Saul Erdl tested his teleportation ray for the first time. Inadvertently, he wrenched through space and time a Martian named John Johns. While light years from Earth, a distant planet called Krypton exploded, a tiny escape craft bearing a very special infant passenger. ...
Not only do people probably not... I'm making an assumption that a lot of people don't really know the difference between an autobiography or an oral story in written form. An oral story is like somebody from a perspective telling you like things that happen beat by beat. And that's what this is written like. It's just somebody orating.
Yep.
It's not dry, like it's not as dry as a reference of like third person omniscient. It's just somebody telling you what's happening. And it's the art's got to carry it. And I think as important historically as Jerry Ordway is, I don't know if this is the most dynamic and eye-catching art. It's
journeyman
very DC,
artists?
Journeyman artist. Well, I mean, he's associated with like the greatest era of Superman.
Yeah, the Triangle era.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So he's got the bones. He's got the bona fides.
Yeah,
but it's not the most engaging or beautiful art. Whereas with the Marvel one, they got somebody that is just off the hilt, kind of crazy with their art style to really like spice it up. This just feels like a reference book.
Each page of the Marvel one felt like its own piece of art.
Yeah,
that you could just hang up. Whereas this is good. It's very good, but it doesn't.
It's a book of recap pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're into history, if you're into the history of the fictional universes,
I think this is a great book, but it's barely a comic book.
Right.
I love it.
And I don't know who to recommend it to.
I'm gonna read I'm gonna read all 4 issues.
Yeah.
When this is collected, it might be like a really fun book to suggest to somebody getting into comics, or like when I was a kid, my favorite things were those like visual encyclopedias. Yeah. This would be awesome, but like as a weekly comic, I'm a little, I don't know.
Well, the other thing I want to say is
monthly. Sorry.
If you're gonna read it, I think reading it as a monthly comic is probably the way to go.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here and read all 4 volumes.
And not unlike the other one, I think maybe like when it starts getting into, so like they only tackle the first like 50 years of, or they don't tackle much in regards to publication history.
Right.
Maybe as issues go on, it'll.
Yeah, this ends with Superman's planet dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how far back it goes.
Maybe when it starts to get to the areas of history that we're more intimate with, it'll be a little bit more engaging. But as of right now, I wonder if Ordway's doing the whole thing.
I don't know.
Are they changing artists?
I'm not sure.
Or?
We'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Anyway.
Find out next month.
So, Jeremy, you loved it?
I don't think I loved it, but I think, honestly, if it comes out in a hardcover down the line, it feels like a very fun thing to have on the shelf.
Right.
And be able to reference if I want, or if I am just in a nerdy lore mood, just go for it.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, like a nerdy lore mood. That's basically what this is scratching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty fresh.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fresh. For what it is, it's phenomenal.
I've got the Chris Somney cover, wraparound cover.
I've got the connected Dan Mora covers.
Oh, they're connecting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Dan Mora covers.
Starts with Wonder Woman in their classic outfit. I love that classic outfit.
Such a good cover.
Yeah.
Is that Diana or is that Hippolyta?
I don't know who that is.
Her mom.
I love you.
Got it.
What are you guys talking about next?
I'll tell you what it is. Speaking of Javier Rodriguez, he is on the arts for a book called Absolute Martian Manhunter from DC All In with Dennis Camp. You may think it's pronounced Denise, which is what I thought it was, but it's just Dennis.
Is there an E at
Because
the end?
it's Deniz.
Oh,
yeah,
I
he's
see.
just Dennis.
Yeah. So yeah, this book is great and confusing, but gorgeous, and I kind of love it.
I love it too.
Yeah.
I just this morning started from number 1 to get here
Oh.
because I was all the way behind.
Yeah.
And it was so easy to. It is a weird, confusing, off-putting story almost at first.
Yeah.
But it's very easy to just, once you get into the headspace, to just go with the flow of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's although maybe not all the images make perfect sense in the moment, maybe not all the words do, all the vibes make sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know how else to put it, but it's very
definitely a vibes book.
Well,
Yeah.
when you have your co-lead,
Yeah.
keep saying things. So I didn't get a chance to read this, but I've read up to issue 3. When you have your co-lead, the air quotes Martian, constantly saying stuff to the effect of, you wouldn't be able to understand it, or it's sure, if that's how you want to call that,
Right.
I'm a Martian, and he's just like, well, what are you really? Like, it's easier for your brain if you just call me Martian. Yeah.
Actually, to that point,
Yeah.
I with so many comic books, I'm left with the question of, do I not understand this because I don't have prior information, or am I not supposed to understand this? And I actually do love that about this book, and I didn't even think about it, the fact that I'm constantly reassured, like, don't worry, you might get it eventually, but
Yeah.
not now.
There are a lot of artistic choices that I thought were just artistic choices from the first couple of issues that we find out are story choices, which is
Yeah,
very cool. Like all of the smoke,
Oh, yes.
all the mist and smoke and everything that is really prevalent in the first couple of issues. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's an interesting choice to make artistically with all these like waves of smoke. Oh, no, it's specific.
Yeah.
I really like the, again, this is going off of issue 2 and 3. I really like how they're incorporating the white Martian aspect too. And yeah, this is a artsy fartsy, prescient, and super comic book all at the same time. This book is phenomenal.
There's
Fantastic.
and every issue has at least one splash page or series of panels that are just the most gorgeous thing I've seen that week.
God, that was such
Look
a
at that.
good page, dude.
Look at it.
I know DC won't do this because they're stupid, but I want this in Treasury edition.
Yeah, Marvel's been putting out them big treasury
Yeah,
boys with
man,
the
these-
soft covers.
This
and
deserves large
treatment.
format.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this fresh AF.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's your favorite absolute book? The one
Ooh.
I just read.
Yeah, that's right.
This
That's
book
right.
is awesome.
That's the running bit.
Yeah.
It's the most recent. Highly recommend.
Superman is my favorite absolute book.
Oh, okay. You've ruined it.
I'm sorry.
Get off the show.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of Dennis Camp,
Oh
Assorted.
wait, super fresh, freshy, fresh, fresh and
I
fresh.
already said fresh AF.
Oh, I didn't. Did you fresh it?
I think I agreed. It's fresh AF.
So Dennis Camp, the same fellow who wrote that, also wrote Assorted Crisis Events #4 from Image Comics with art by Zawodzki, Eric Zawodzki, and Jordi Belair on colors.
So
Are you keeping up with this?
No. So I was going to say,
Ugh.
remind everybody. The premise being each issue is a one and done-ish type of story in the shared universe of
Yes.
everyone else. So.
Yes.
It's basically like an underground, like if something like Crisis on Infinite Earths actually happened, what does it mean to people on the streets?
Yes.
Portals, pockets of time, crazy timey-wimey, interdimensional shit just happening to like Joe Public.
Yep.
Yeah, and each
There's-
issue's different, right?
Yeah, it is how a crisis event affects the people on the street, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So there's specifically in the very first issue, there is a fella who's just a normal fella who's trapped in time. He is stuck on the side of the street, on the sidewalk, just stuck in time. And his wife is there waiting for him to get unstuck in time. And it's through the rain, through the snow, through all this other stuff. Like he's just frozen for some reason. And then there's like dinosaurs show up or Nazis show up or, it's a lot of really fun stuff that you can only really kind of do in comic books, I think. And this is another one of those. The second issue was basically a horror issue, which was awesome. And this one is about, it speaks to my ADHD. It is about a gentleman who is blipping through time so quickly through his own life. It's not like he is the same person from one panel to the next. He's blipping through his own life. He's skipping like a record, like ahead of time. I guess no, a record just repeats Maybe I'm thinking of a CD. It just like bumps forward.
Mhm.
And yeah, he's just like, oh, I'm late for school. Nope. I'm late for my graduation. Nope. I'm late for work. I'm fired. What do I even do here? I'm on a date with this woman. I don't think it's going to work out. She's pregnant and we're married now. It's so fun. This book, Dennis, if you're looking for an image book, Dennis Camp's Assorted Crisis Events is something that there's nothing else like it on the shelves.
I think the first trade was just solicited, and it's 5 issues. This is a maxi series, so I think it's only going to be like 10 or 11.
Man,
Yeah,
highly
this is
recommend.
awesome.
This is fresh AF.
Not
out
only
the
is
box.
he a great writer, the art is awesome, and this book,
the colors are great.
This book feels like it wouldn't have been popular, or it wouldn't have been possible pre-COVID, or at least as much. Like the overall thesis of this book is basically how quickly we normalize shit that should not be normal.
Yeah.
And it just takes it to the craziest organic conclusion to that of just like, well, if what happens if timey-wimey shit? And we just end up normalizing it because we're so in the weeds of our day-to-day boring existence. Like, yeah, I understand that there's a dinosaur right there, but I'm late for work. Like, just the banality of life. Yeah, this is a good book. This is a really good book.
Highly recommend.
I do need to catch up on it. But is there anything of his that we haven't enjoyed these days?
No.
Ultimates, Absolute Martian Manhunter, Assorted Crisis Events.
He's killing it.
Yeah.
He's a name to watch. Dennis Camp. If you haven't picked up his stuff, I highly recommend
Just
it.
keep watching his name.
Yeah.
Just write it down and look at it. Write down his name.
That's right.
Look at it. Love it.
I'm the only one who read that, though. Who's up next?
You last week were talking all about how much you love the current era of Superman.
Unironically, yes.
So I was like,
this is not a bit.
What a
cuck.
bitch take. What a cuck bitch take. Am I using that right?
What is it, soy boy?
Yeah.
Oh, Boy Scout. Soy Boy Scout.
Soy. Oh, nice.
Yeah, nice.
Boy Boy Scout, yeah. Do you even know what the Snyder Cut is, bro? So I was like, bullshit. I'm gonna read Superman.
Oh, I'll tell him what's up.
It's good.
Listen, the background of this is I am historically not a fan of Superman issues. I will dip into All-Star Superman or collected editions of certain things, but he is not a gentleman that I read on a monthly basis.
Yeah, that probably hurts his feelings.
It does.
So this is Superman Proper, number 27, written by Joshua Williamson with art by Eddie Barrows and Sean Izatsky.
Izatsky from Green Arrow.
Yeah.
Nice. He's good.
This is... so issue 25 was like a big conclusive issue. This is a very weird run in so much as how it's been mapped. So this issue specifically, this arc, is wrapping up stuff that was in the first arc of this run, like issues 1 through 5 with the Dr. Graft and stuff, which feels like 17 years ago, but it's only issue 27.
Yeah.
And that's because there's been like events and miniseries and half of it's in action and blah, blah, blah. And so like we're like 40 issues in, but this is only issue 27, which is kind of funny. But
hold up. Who's writing action?
Well, I mean, a bunch of different people, but then for a while it was him because it was a part of like the Brainiac thing. And
this
book
but it's
is
not
gone,
still, right?
No.
Okay.
This book is gone
doing
like
the
up and down
Superstars thing.
through shit.
Right. Okay.
So
Gotcha.
it feels more massive than 27 issues. We're like, oh, we're back on this, which is kind of crazy. So I don't. It's new reader friendly in so much as like all comics are kind of new reader friendly. You just kind of figure it out. But they're referencing stuff from like 3.5 years ago, 4.5 years ago. So I would say start from the beginning. But I miss Dan Mora's art. This is Eddie Burrows, who's great, but it's just a different vibe altogether.
For sure.
I can't get enough of Mora, dude.
Mora's so good.
Every time I open that up, I'm like, this is a comic. Every time.
And every time I have a Dan Mora cover and I open it up and it's not Dan Mora, slight pang of,
Yep.
There's, I don't know, I'm afraid of so I've been a fan of Dan Mora since the beginning, doing his Power Ranger shit and Once and Future.
Loser.
But I know, right? I feel bad overhyping
Klaus.
him. Yeah, and Klaus. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel bad overhyping him, but it really is that good.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like make other people get annoyed by how good he is. You know, like when everybody talking about this is perfect, this is perfect, this is perfect, and you're like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But no, this is perfect. But Eddie Burroughs is great. It's just a different style.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this status quo of Lex.
Yeah. Yes.
So those not reading, it was a good boy Lex.
Yeah.
Because of reasons.
Yeah. Because
but
of
he
comic
didn't-
books.
But he didn't remember Bad Boy Lex.
Mm-hmm.
But then he needed to remember Bad Boy Lex. Now he's mixed Good Boy and Bad Boy Lex.
Yeah.
And
As
he's
a
just
normal human, yeah.
new Lex.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah. Me too.
He's like anti-hero Lex, and I love it.
And they're doing a very similar thing over in ASM. They have been for a couple years now with Norman Osborn.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
And I
And for
don't-
some reason, that feels a little weirder to me than Lex. I don't know why.
Lex is a contemporary. Norman Osborn's a father figure.
Yes.
It's just a little different.
And
Like,
also, he murdered your girlfriend.
well, I mean, Lex did a lot of murder things.
But he didn't kill anyone specifically, right? To Superman.
I'm sure you could find an example. It's been 70, 80 years of continuity.
I also feel like we're getting, for lack of a better term, Lex in Superman is getting a lot more meaningful screen time than Norman in Spider-Man. Like Norman in Spider-Man to me feels like, oh, he was Green Goblin. Now he's not. We had a little bit of struggles in the middle there, but like, don't worry, he's fine.
Yeah.
But at least with Lex, like we saw the progression, we can see the development, and he is very active in a lot of the story.
I mean, yeah. I
And also,
It
we
just
were
feels
just
different. I
also
think-
we were just introduced to Bad Lex again.
True.
I think it's just how it hits. Because honestly, we could probably go back to the last run of Amazing Spider-Man, and Good Guy Norman probably has more plot about it and more screen presence about it.
Yeah.
But this feels a little bit more earned versus that, and I don't necessarily know why.
Yeah, same.
Right.
It's just, and I think it has to do with them being contemporaries
Fair.
versus bad dad version that Norman and, because these two are always at the same footing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah,
This-
it's
this
so
is
good.
It's a really, really fun book. I enjoy it more than Superman Unlimited, but
Yeah.
I mean that's neither here nor there. Yeah, this feels. It's the first time in a while that the Superman book has felt pretty vital, like to DC.
And I used to be kind of, I don't want to say anti-Josh Williamson, but I really did not care for a lot of his stuff.
It wasn't like bad. It was just like okay,
Okay.
whatever. Like I really didn't care for the Flash.
Yeah.
I really didn't care for his little Batman stint. I was okay with Dark Crisis.
I liked Dark Crisis in the beginning, and then it just fell off hard for me.
I went the other way.
Yeah.
The beginning was just like whatever with the universes and blah blah blah. But then when it became just like a Nightwing book, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Yeah.
But pretty fresh.
Pretty darn fresh. The
Yeah.
Superman books are really wonderful. Pretty
So
darn fresh.
is this issue a start of a new arc?
The
then?
last issue was 26 was the start of a new arc, but
Gotcha.
you could probably start just with 25. 25 was like an anniversary issue that was pretty thick and,
Right,
and
yeah.
teased the next like 2 or 3 arcs. You could probably just go straight to 25 and catch up. This is a really fun book.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. This will be a really good like large collection someday.
I was thinking that, like a little
Yeah.
omnibus. Would be great.
Yeah.
Another one that I've been catching up on, but didn't quite get here in time.
Yeah, let's talk really quickly about Void Rivals. Issue number 20 came out today by Robert Kirkman and new artist Connor Hughes.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Leonardo.
Where's De Felici?
Lorenzo De Felici is not the main artist on the book anymore. He left last issue. Oh, and they're saying it's because of reasons. So,
Oh, yeah.
well, not bad reasons. Like when you see what he does next, you'll see why he had to take up time off the book. But honestly, doesn't skip a beat in so much as it's the same exact style and flow.
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
Wow. If you weren't intimately familiar with Lorenzo De Felici's art,
You would have no idea.
no clue whatsoever.
No.
It is a very, and honestly,
Oh, my God.
I think all the Energon books are kind of doing this in so much as when they get fill-in artists, they have it like very much like the original artist, because Jorge Corona has a different-ish style, but he's being colored like Daniel Warren Johnson.
Yeah, on
So it's just
Transformers,
like
yeah.
it becomes the same kind of thing. This
is-
book just keeps being cool.
Is Daniel Warren Johnson not on Transformers anymore?
He's writing it. He doesn't draw it.
He's been writing the whole series, but he only drew the first 8,
Six.
6.
But it's also been announced that he is leaving.
Ew.
at 24, and they have not announced the new writer yet.
Gross.
Or creative team, I should say.
I'm also very behind on that book, though.
I'm so behind on all energy.
I actually just caught up on all of them.
Yeah?
So they're still kicking.
I'm catching up on G.I. Joe. It's great. I'm catching up on Void Rival. That might be the best book.
Void Rivals is my favorite. Transformers is a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
There's like 8 plot lines right now, and none of them, and the transition between plot lines in an issue is pretty shaky.
Yeah.
But it's still fun. This book was dangerously close to doing my least favorite Jonathan Hickman, Robert Kirkman thing. Why I dropped every single one of his books other than Firepower. And it's his penchant to prolong friction by explicitly not having people who are standing in front of each other just say a word.
Yeah.
Like, he does this thing where he gets to a point where it's like, oh, we need 6 more issues, so I'm going to not make them talk.
Yeah.
Like, it's inorganically push them away. There's a scene in here where one character is standing in front of 2 others, and it's just and the other character literally says, what made you change? I talked to him. Just talk to him. And then they cut away with, like, stance poses like we're about to fight. And I was like, fuck you, Kirkman. You're going to do that thing where you prolong the inevitable, and it's going to great. He didn't.
Oh, good.
And this book is great.
Nice.
Like, he literally... It seems like Robert Kirkman's having fun. It seems like there is a goal for this book, and there is no sense of padding for time, which I really, really appreciate, especially with his stories. And that's why I loved Firepower, too. Like, that book just never stopped, kept going forward, and it actually felt like it had a goal as opposed to, we'll see. So this is fun.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about Void Rivals is there is a mystery set up in the beginning, in the first issue, of why these 2 civilizations are at war with each other. Both of them, they live on this giant ring, right, around a black hole. And
like
one
2
half
ends
of the ring is one race, and the other half of the ring is another race, and they've been at war for who knows how long. And there's a mystery set up, and they don't tell you what it is, but the mystery is organic to the plot of the book. The people who live on the ring also don't know the answer to the mystery, right? It's not just he's keeping it from the readers.
Yeah, and
he's keeping it from everyone.
We learn it somewhere in like 17, 18 issue era. No, a little earlier than that,
I forget
still.
What issue, but I was like, I texted you and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, 3 trades in, we learn what the whole mystery is, and it ties it very, very wonderfully ties into literally every other Energon book. Yeah, without it feeling forced whatsoever. No. So
my only problem is I don't know who to recommend this to because it's got Transformers in it. It doesn't have any G.I. Joes, I don't think. Oh, it does. Right, it's got like the
it's got some of the Cobra
Nebulous
characters.
And Cobra La. Cobra La's in it. But also it's great on its own.
I think this is so there are people who don't give a crap about Transformers. This is a gateway book because you could read this without caring or knowing anything about Transformers or even what's going on in the Transformers book. I could not care at all what's happening in the Transformers book, and this one stands alone. It's like there are just some robot characters that are part of this. That's it. Like, it is not. I think this, when they first announced this book, it was like, oh, okay, cool sci-fi, and then it was like, oh, it's actually part of a larger universe. This felt like a throwaway because the big pull was Transformers. This is the umbrella book. Yeah, this is really the middle book above all of them in regards to like how massive the plot is.
It's taken a little bit to get cracking, but man, it is
this
awesome.
This is the best.
Fresh AF.
Fresh AF. What do you guys got? You want to go? A couple of things that came out today.
Real quick.
VR Troopers, written by Marjorie Scott with art by Sebastian Perez.
That's another toy tie-in, right, from the 80s? Is that what that is?
Toy/TV show. Like, it's Power Rangers adjacent.
Okay, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know them.
Yeah. I mean, I never saw it, but I'm familiar with.
It's not from the world of Power Rangers, though.
Yes.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Oh.
Or Haim, Saban.
Sure.
Either way.
But that guy has his name on.
There had to have been a crossover at some point. But this is issue number 1. Doesn't do much work in actually like explaining to you things, because I think that's happening in the actual Power Rangers book. It was still a solid read.
I'm sorry. Who's the writer and artist?
Someone I never heard of. 2 people I've never heard it. Marjorie Scott, and illustrated by Sebastian Perez with art by J.P. Jordan and lettered by Taylor Esposito. You've got 3 teenagers who are a part of an elite fighting force. What I did learn about this is that we are now in a shared universe where Earth is a part of the Eltarian galaxy nebula.
I don't know what that is.
Eltarians are. I only remembered this from reading the Power Rangers comic books, but that's Zordon's race.
Oh, okay.
They're blue. Yeah. So something happened in the Power Rangers book that I'm very, very, very behind on, where Eltar either is at war, went to war, or saved war, and now they just have like delegated assembly of planets, and Earth is part of it. So they've set these troopers up as a almost kind of like an official police force of teenagers, working
Trooper transform.
working for the Eltarians that are kind of also watching. So they've got this kind of like interesting dynamic, and it sets up who do you trust.
Yeah.
So it's like
It's
like baby's first propaganda.
Oh, nice.
It's
wow.
but the air quotes cops
yeah.
are mistrusting of the system that they're a part of to help people. So it's very interesting.
So this is part of Power Rangers Prime.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is an
okay.
offshoot of Power Rangers Prime, which I guess is. I think somebody had told us in an email that is, the status quo was completely shifted, and
Yeah.
now it's like the current status quo is almost like a multiverse version of the Transformers, and this is like related to that.
Gotcha.
And that's all because of the Eltarian blah blah blah. But it's, I mean, if you're in the bag for that stuff, this is the same vibe. If you're just picking this up and you're confused, I get it.
Yep.
I get it. But yeah, let's talk about the book.
Let's
we
wrap
all
it
read.
up. Spider-Man and Wolverine, #2, by
Mark Guggenheim.
and Kare Andrews. This is a big slobber knocker of an issue. We found out in the last.
There is some dialogue.
Sure.
There's some.
But also, some slobs get knocked.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying like this could have been a silent issue, but there's some dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
There's a
how
lot
much
of-
of that dialogue is?
There's like a sentence or two.
Yeah.
It's spread out.
So yeah, this is pretty gnarly. Actually, we get the same reveal that we got at the end of Civil War, which is
The movie.
the movie Civil War, where we find out that Bucky killed Tony's parents. In this, in the end of episode 1, we find out, or Peter finds out that Wolverine is the guy who killed his parents.
Or so we're led to believe.
Yes, or so he's led to believe. Yes,
Well,
So I believe.
the reader
I
as
believe
well.
him. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So it's basically just Peter getting blind hot rage and attacking Wolverine. This is the coolest book I read this week.
Okay.
This is absolutely awesome, and I loved every second of it.
It is a big action sequence.
It's not just. Yes, you're right. It is a big action sequence. The whole issue is a fight between the two of them that ends tragically. The way that Kare Andrews depicted this as the full issue is, I just found it incredibly masterful. Like, not only is it gnarly and he plays with the page, but there's a couple of things he does with panels that
Yeah.
I was giggling.
Mm-hmm.
So Peter had learned this information by seeing old security footage of inside the plane, like black box inside the plane, of a Wolverine looking character making their plane crash. During their fight, we're still seeing the inset picture of the video, but it's tumbling through the page as the plane is tumbling.
Yeah.
It's just
So good. Yeah.
Dude.
This is where I stopped and went, oh, look what they're doing here. This is cool. Yeah.
And that doesn't we read so much that doesn't happen that often. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh, this is well done and this is nice, but not like I don't know if I've seen that before. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
this is
cool.
awesome. What did you think of this, Jamie?
I enjoyed it. I think it might just be maybe I don't have the intellect to appreciate the art of it, which objectively it was a fun book. It was a really fun fight scene. The art is fantastic, but by the end I was kind of sitting there for a second. I was like, okay, I got nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plot wise, this is light as fudge.
Yeah.
Light as fudge.
Which I think is one of the things that always hit me first about a book, of like, okay, does this feel like something that progressed the story for me, or does it feel like something that I could have skipped? And it then the question becomes, how much do I appreciate the art versus the story versus the dialogue, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's just a matter of like what sticks out to you the most in comics.
Yeah.
I think those are super fair questions.
Yeah. So again, it wasn't a series that I'm subscribed to. I probably still won't be. I definitely appreciate it, and I can see why you love it.
Yeah.
I just personally don't.
It does feel like a scene that would just be in the middle of the trade paperback. It's not going to feel so empty, I don't think.
It would feel awesome in a trade.
I remember, and I'll leave it at this. I remember back in the day during Invincible, there was a couple of issues that were almost exclusively fights. And there was complaints online that it took me less than 10 minutes to read that. And Ryan Otley and Kirkman both kind of pushed back on that. It's just like, there is so much story being told, and you should not measure it by how many words you had to read.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of work and scripting that went into this, like, mostly dialogue-less fight was the same, if not more, that goes into before. So, like, hey, relax.
Yeah.
But to their point, yeah, I dropped down $3-4, and the story didn't progress anywhere.
Yeah.
At least plot-wise.
Yeah.
It may have emotionally, it may have character-wise, but like plot-wise, I'm still in the same place I was at the end of the last issue, and now I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So I get both sides of the story. But I guess since we just read so much and we've been reading for 4,000 years, I just get I'm in the bag when it's something I've never seen before, or at least don't remember seeing before.
Yeah, the art is engaging enough and interesting enough.
It's the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because if it was just did you kill my parents again?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, credit where it's due, this is a fight scene that you really feel. And honestly, my problem wasn't necessarily the fact of like what was in the book. It was the fact that I got to the end and I was so in it, and I was like, oh shit, that's the end.
Right.
Like there's not more of this. There's no like resolution to what's happening currently. So I think it's.
That sounds like a positive, though.
Yeah.
Like,
are we talking you into this?
Yes.
I
leave them wanting more.
There's so many books
And?
that like I will have an opinion, and then later in the day my opinion will change.
Yeah.
But I do think I don't know, man. It's good. I will not subscribe to it.
Fair enough.
No, yeah. I mean, yes. This is a book that leads with the art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really, like, as much as I loved this issue, it really does depend on what happens next.
Yeah.
Like, and I think this is only a 5-issue miniseries. So this being the end of Act 1, where we get a crazy piece of information and it's a rising action culminating in here. What happens next as to where they go from here? Because technically it ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
That'll really decide whether this is like beyond just an art book.
Do you want Wolverine to have killed Spider-Man's parents?
I'm okay with it.
Will you be disappointed if it's like, no, it wasn't him. It was doctored footage.
I do think it's a feint. I don't think he did, but the drama in that is very, to me, is Logan knowing it's very possible he did, even though he can't remember it. That's what matters, not who did or didn't and why or how. It's that he had done so much bad shit and it has such an unreliable memory
He
that
very well could have.
And that's the fight. That's the conversation. Like, tell me you didn't. Tell me it's like, I don't remember it, but I don't know, and I can't say.
I remember a plane. I remember 2 spies, and I remember it crashing.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah.
I do love how much it highlights Wolverine's constant desire to be honest, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Like, he's an asshole. And
he could just say, nah.
Yeah, there's a lot of awful things that he's done. But so often, whenever Wolverine pops up, he's always just like, look, man, I wish I could help, but I don't know. And he just wants to be honest.
Yeah, it's Bub.
Yeah,
man,
true.
Bub.
Bub.
I think, what, pretty fresh.
Pretty
Very
fresh.
fresh.
Pretty
I'm
fresh.
very fresh. You're pretty fresh.
I'm pretty fresh.
You're fresh enough. You're fresh. Just fresh.
Or barely fresh.
Just whelmed.
I think fresh. I would go middle of the road because it's very dependent on
what happens.
Yeah, what happens and the things that you value.
Yeah. Like time and life
and money.
Touch grass. So what else are you guys looking forward to reading this week?
I'm excited to jump back on Superman and catch up with that. I'm reading Superior Avengers, which is part of the One World Under Doom Johnsky.
Very fun book.
Yeah.
I caught up on Absolute Wonder Woman, so I can't wait to read that. Ultimate Spider-Man came out today, and it was really fun. But next week, week we're going to talk about, hopefully, new issue of Absolute Superman.
Nice.
Your favorite.
Wonderful.
The new Captain America comes out next week by Chip Zdarsky and Valerio Schiti.
Yeah. Oh,
I think it's Valerio Schiti. Looks really fun. And then Godzilla versus Thor. No, you guys aren't Godzilla fans, but it's
Thor fans.
It's Jason Aaron and Aaron Cooter.
Oh.
So like I'm very excited about that. And then just ASM, Hellfire Vigil, X-Men Hellfire Vigil.
I have no idea what it's going to be.
I'm currently catching up with all my X-Men. I'll make sure to get there.
Yeah, you gotta get there. But yeah, also last week on the main podcast, every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Central Time, we talked about Devil May Cry, the new Netflix show, and snacks, and embarrassed my nephew.
Yep.
And then,
how old is he? He's 12?
12.
He did great.
And then this week, we're going to maybe talk about some rageful viruses. Nice. So be sure to join us. It's wherever you stream, live on YouTube, Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Central Time. Anything else you guys want to plug or plop or poop?
No, I'm good.
Pick up your comics, Jeremy.
That's a great idea. Go to your comic shop and buy your comics.
Oh yeah, that'd be ideal. Do that.
All right, thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk at you later.
Stay hydrated.
Bye.
Doo-doo-doo.
Thank you for listening to the CultPop Network, home to podcasts, live shows, and a whole lot of fun stuff for every flavor of fan. Follow us wherever you find your favorite podcasts, and be sure to join us live every Wednesday night at youtube.com/CultPopGo at 8 p.m. Eastern. While you're there, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you'll know when we drop new Thunder Rounds and episodes of Fresh Floppies, a spoiler-free show about single-issue comics released each week. Until then, we'll talk at you later.